Okay, now this is where we tell you who today's show is sponsored by. And today's show is sponsored, well, you know what? We're going to give this one away for free. Today's show is sponsored by Purell. Stay safe out there, everybody. Become a full or partial show sponsor of Black Gold and on Accelerated Radio, and let us carry your brand to a mature listening audience of Gen Xers and millennials with discriminating tastes, cultural pride, and an active desire to uplift and support the Black community. Find out on acceleratedраdio.net how your sponsorship of our shows go to support the Accelerated Radio Academy, where the next generation of great radio producers and podcasters are being born. To become a sponsor of Black Gold or to become a community partner, reach out to us online at radioblackgold.com/sponsors or by email at radioblackgold@gmail.com and become part of the show that celebrates all that is golden and all that is black. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is not every day that you get to interview a legend, okay? Someone whose voice has echoed through the soundtrack of your youth and actually whose music still continues to wind you up the way it did pretty much the first time you heard it. Today I have such a privilege. If you're a classic R&B lover, you know the voice and you know the songs. Come Share My Love, Baby Be Mine, Ain't Nobody Like You, and of course, Love Under New Management. If you've seen the movie on TV One, she executive produced it. Our guest today is Miki Howard on Black Gold. Let's do this.
You are Black Gold, Black Gold. You are Black Gold. You are Black Gold, Black Gold. You are Black Gold. You are.
All right, thank you, Esperanza. Thank you, Esperanza. Wherever you are, honey, call me. We're still trying to get in touch. All right, now let's waste no time, okay? We will be joined by Miss Miki Howard by phone shortly, but before we get to talking, I got to get your spirit ready, okay? So let's take a breath. Let's rearrange all the particles in the air. Let's prepare the stage for what is about to happen. Let us remind you of what Black Gold sounds like. The year was 1987. The album was called Love Confessions, and the song is called Baby Be Mine. We'll be joined by Miss Miki Howard in a minute.
I've been trying to tell myself I don't need you. Trying to hold back the feelings I feel for you, knowing in the end there's no future for you and I can't tell no lie. Baby, you never really got to know me. Baby, I should have said it at the time. Words left unspoken, only gave you a token of my love. Take a second chance and see what you're missing. I'm just somebody you don't know as well as you think you do. So understand me this time, baby, be mine. You never really got to know me. I should have said it at the time. Words left unspoken, they only gave you a token of my love.
can't put this off any longer. You gonna switch that music for me? Do that other bit, okay? I got anything in my teeth? All right. I know it's radio, but you could just tell me anyway, okay? All right. Okay, here we go. So joining us by phone from Chicago, we know her as Miki Howard. But I just watched the biopic this morning, so I keep hearing in my head, Alicia Michelle. But anyway, she's released more than about 9 albums over a career that has spanned, my goodness, decades. And her music has been part of the soundtrack of my life. Thank you so much. Hello, Miss Miki Howard. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for the time. I am so sad that you're not here in LA, though. I have to say that.
I wish I could have been there. I really, really hate that this is going on and I'm not able to come.
Yeah, it's great. For those who didn't know, Miki Howard was actually scheduled to perform 3 shows here in LA this weekend at Catalina's Jazz Club, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. I was ready to come. I had my reservation. I was ready to come with a friend of mine. We were going to get our absolute life. But, as everyone knows, the U.S. is kind of shut down right now in terms of travel and entertainment. So I'm really sad. But how are you doing? Like, how are the people around you? Is everybody healthy? Is everybody calm? How are things in Chicago with you?
Well, I don't know. I've been in the house.
You ain't been outside. I ain't asking nobody.
No, I'm like, man, I've been in the house since, forever. I had something. I don't know what I had. But it was not cute, okay?
So you had something. So are you like self-quarantining, or are you just doing what you
Yeah,
always?
I was. It's been over 14 days now, and I was sick all 14 days of it.
Oh, wow. Are you better now?
I'm a lot better.
Good.
That's why I was like, I ain't gonna be doing no TV thing, whatever it is, video, y'all.
Yeah, we offered it. It seemed like a more reasonable proposition when you be getting ready for the gig. But as soon as you said video, I was like, well, listen, if I was home and I didn't have to dress up and look at nobody, I wouldn't. So we're really good with you on the phone. And it's actually a good point to say anybody, okay, who wants to see Miki Howard should pay attention to MikiHowardMedia.com for rescheduled dates. And in the meantime, jump on our Facebook page, send us messages if you'd like us to ask Miss Howard any questions, and we'll try to do what we can. So I'm glad you're doing better, my dear legend, and I'm glad that everybody around you is cool. So, you are one of my favorite social media accounts to follow, I gotta tell you. I feel like I know you. You do let it all hang out in the music and online, Instagram and Miki that. But the research brought me some surprises, right? Because where you began, when I was a kid, prior to the movie, I would have thought that your career kind of started with Come Share My Love. Because for me, I first heard Imagination around the house when I was a kid, but that's not where it started. So let's do this. For the uninitiated, tell us where the beginning really started for your career.
I didn't really sing in church, but my parents were gospel singers, and then I actually started singing with the jazz people first, and then I moved on to Side Effect, a very popular group at the time.
That big hit was George. Well, there was a lot of hits, but this blew my mind because Georgie Porgy was one of those little 45s that I had when I was like 10, and they give you the little record player that folds up into the little briefcase. You remember those? And it folds up into the little suitcase, and you throw it out and you put on the records. You're not supposed to play like your mama's Richard Pryor record, but I had that Georgie Porgy, and I could not believe when I watched the film that was you.
Well, there was 3 versions, Toto and we had a really great version that went around the community, and it was good.
And that was the first version, correct?
No, I think that was the second.
Okay, all right, cool.
It's a Toto song, but Side Effect took it and jazzed it up.
Right. Okay. Cool. So it's actually cool. You mentioned that you started in church, right? You were the daughter of 2 gospel singers. Clay Graham was your daddy. He sang with the Pilgrim Jubilees, and your mother, Josephine Howard, part of the Caravans, right? And they ended up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Right. There's something I was wondering when I watched the film that you executive produced. It was brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Your voiceover, incredible. In your own voice, talk about telling our own stories. But a lot of singers who started out in the church, they experienced this kind of conflict between like the secular and the sacred, like, leaving church and not singing sacred music anymore. Black singers, it was a thing with like Donny Hathaway, and was that an issue for you? It didn't really address that in the film.
No, absolutely not. It was not. My parents were both ambitious and fun people. They would never change. They would always sing gospel. But my dad, they were never married, and they were, just the modern sort of people for the '60s and '70s.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't put that on me like that. They were very encouraging. The only time, on Sundays we had to listen to all gospel, but absolutely any other time it was just music everywhere. And they sang with all the artists, and my mom was really popular, and everyone would come over our home, and we never thought at all about singing secular music as being bad or anything.
I hear that. Well, that's beautiful. So what did you listen to? What was playing around the house growing up for you? What did you just...
Simone, Aretha Franklin, Nancy Wilson, Little Jimmy Scott, just, the Supremes, Judy Garland, Donny Hathaway, certainly, and all these people were in their infancy, like DJ Rogers,
Now, okay, so, I like to ask singers to make a little distinction. Like, there are those acts that they listened to and that they loved and were part of their formative experience, but then also, but not necessarily influences. So they were the ones that you enjoyed, and then who were the real sort of influences, the one that made you say, okay, yeah, let me go on ahead out here and do that, what they're doing?
Absolutely, Aretha Franklin, Natalie Cole, Nancy Wilson, Billie Holiday, Abby Lincoln.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to watch this because a lot of people like to say jazz divas, but I know that if Nancy Wilson heard me call her that, I'd hear about it. So, but yes, the luminaries, the ladies of jazz, yeah. When I first heard you, it was Imagination on "Come Share My Love," right? That was the first major label record, and I was, we won't do dates, but I was pretty little, And there are people who would argue that your rendition of Imagination is like definitive, okay? But you had to fight to include that on the record. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, because at that time we were having a real fun time with Whitney Houston and Anita Baker and Alicia Myers doing really, great, female records, and they wanted an artist to come out like that, And so I really was a jazz artist, but I was so young that, it was not acceptable, and I had the voice for this other sort of music. So Atlantic Records wanted me to do, the Whitney Houston path, which was cool, it was great. But I always wanted to sing jazz, so we sort of would trade off where I could get to do a jazz song if, I would do these other songs. And they were all great to me. I enjoyed singing all sorts of music.
Right.
But in my heart of hearts, I am a jazz singer.
And you were from the beginning. That's
right.
Yeah. You know what? If I can take just a minute, I have to do this balance, right? We're music talk hybrid. I have to play the music and the things flashing at me. So I want to give them just a little bit of imagination. I think it's worth it. So, but can you roll that for a little bit? Let's check out Miki Howe with Imagination. We'll be back talking to her in a couple minutes.
Imagination is funny, makes a cloudy day sunny, makes a bee think of honey, just as I think of you. Imagination crazy. Your whole perspective gets hazy. Start you asking a daisy what to do. example, I go around wanting you, and yet I can't imagine that you want me Have you ever felt a gentle touch and then a kiss and then find it's only your imagination again? Oh, well, imagination is silly. You go around willy-nilly. As for example, I go around wanting you, and yet I can't imagine that you want me to.
I mean, listen, you don't interrupt that. You let that drain out to the last drop. That was from Love Confessions. No, it was from Come Share My Love. I'm messing up. Miki Howard joins us by phone from Chicago. It's funny, as that was playing, I thought about this. And as I said before, like, there are a lot of people who say that's the definitive version of Imagination. In 1994, I had the privilege in Boston to do a recording set. Not do. Listen, I was just sitting there listening. Nancy Wilson recorded that one with the Boston Pops, and she invited me to hang out and listen to the recording session. And it was wonderful. She did that. She did two others. And at the end, I was leaving with her. I said, it was beautiful, especially Imagination or whatever. She said, yeah, but you know what? Did you hear Miki do that one? And I said, yeah, that's the first time I ever heard it. Nancy Wilson loved your version. I can tell you that firsthand.
Aw, she was a wonderful woman. I love her. I miss her a lot.
Yeah, as do I. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so next three records, right? Let's talk major label. Now, the next three albums are what I'm really talking about when I say stuff like soundtrack to the youth for the 80s babies, 80s kids. Hits galore. You got 1 year after your debut, Love Confessions, 1987. 1 year later, 2 years later, the eponymous Miki Howard, and I got to tell you, because that one came out, that was like self-titled. You're the only person I'd ever seen do a self-titled record on the third record, and I was so confused. I was like, well, this must be the first one, because that's how it goes. But no, the self-titled was the third one, and those are the Atlantic releases. 3 major label releases in 3 years. That's unheard of. What do you say about that period?
That was the time when they allowed us to make music. We're not allowed to anymore, but records were easy for me to make because I came from people that made records.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and I was a professional by the time Atlantic had signed me, and it was really easy and a lot of fun, and not hard at all.
But to be able to get the major label to galvanize their resources like that year after year after year, we're used to hearing that that's a challenging thing to get the bureaucracy to move that way. You can be prolific. Like, that was one of Prince's big complaints, right? I made so much music, they would bottleneck it. They wouldn't let it out. You know what I mean? But for you, it seemed like they enthusiastically released this music, and we enthusiastically received it.
Well, yeah, it was the wonderful Sylvia Rowe, who was a genius at promoting and picking records. She picked all those songs, basically.
Did she?
And, yeah, she worked on, and had a lot of belief and faith in myself, and some other acts. Excuse me, I'm on the phone. My grandson is here. He's just
All right, I hear him. How old is he?
7, and he should be more polite.
They all should. Even the ones, let me tell you something, they should be more polite at 27 too. But I digress. So really quickly, what do you remember of those sessions? Because I remember at the time making a note of that producer, Nick Martinelli. And I was like, this is a guy with an Italian name, and he's got this touch. He produced for you and for Regina Bell. And, what were those sessions like for you? And if you don't remember, you can say that because I heard you tell somebody else that you don't remember a certain period of time. But
I mean, it just shows that, I remember it being good. I enjoyed recording, and
it was a high. It all felt good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still do. We just never get to do it anymore, so.
Because of the way that the nature of recording music has changed, it feels a little bit more kind of isolated artist, producer, small studio. Like when I listen to those sessions, I'm thinking,
everybody thinks they're Prince, okay? Prince and Stevie Wonder are enigmas. They're unusual. And what they brought to the electronics of music, everybody thinks they can do it and do it as well as they did. And they're really, it's better when you have other people working with you. My records were appealing, I think, because they were more than my soul in the records. There was the producers, there were many musicians, and different engineers and things like that that made the records great. It wasn't just me,
Let's talk about the background singers. I just wonder how much of the live experience you were able to replicate. Like, were you able to, in the room with the background singers, was there a collaborative process about it, that organic thing that all musicians really hope for?
Yeah, singers are great. Most of the singers on Love Under New Management were lead singers. There was Sharon. She sang When Love Calls, You Better Answer. There was Liz Hurd, who has one of the most encompassing, beautiful voices. She's the top voice on Love and New Man. Everyone wants to hit that note. She's amazing. And then we had Spencer. Spencer was amazing. He passed away from HIV, which was one of the first cases, and it was so devastating. Because around that time we were losing so many people from the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
Yes.
Those were the people that we worked with on those records passed away from that.
Wow.
Or drug abuse. But yeah.
But yeah,
those were interesting and great times.
When people think, part of this show is trying to play the ones that everybody knows Love Under New Management, right? We will get there. We'll get there, ladies and gentlemen. I see them on, somebody just texted me, talking about Love Under New Management, get to it. We'll get there, ladies and gentlemen. But everybody knows that one. From one of my favorite tracks, like I mentioned, the ones produced by Nick Martinelli, like Baby Be Mine, we led with that one. And I love your rendition of Reason. So would it be okay if we take a breath and let them hear a little bit of that one? And then we'll move on to the independent records, because I really want to talk about those, okay? So, yes, indeed. So this would be Reasons. Now, everybody knows this one from Earth, Wind, and Fire. But when a song stylist styles it their way, it turns out like this. This is from Love Confessions. This is Miki Howard's Reasons, produced by Nick Martinelli. We'll be right back, Miss Howard.
Now I'm craving your body. Is it real? Temperature's rising. I don't wanna feel I'm in the wrong place to be real. Oh, when I'm longing to love you just for a night, kissing and hugging and holding you tight. Please let me love you with all of my might. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear our fears.
That's Reasons. That's Reasons as done by Mickey Howard on Love Confessions. We like to reach a little bit deeper into the crates than typical. We don't want to only go with the big hits. So, there you go. All right, Miss Howard. So we're going to finish up here. Just really quickly, you moved from Atlantic to Giant Records, and you put out Femme Fatale in 1992. I'm wondering if for that one, there were more standards on that one. And what do you associate with that period? I know it was a difficult transition from Atlanta to Giant.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, moving on. All right, you got that. And I'm gonna say this, okay, because I saw the movie, and I'm not asking for all that. You know what I mean? And if anybody wants to know,
it was not good. Everything was weird. People were strange, and I wasn't used to that. I was used to working with another kind of person in Sylvia and in musicians and things like that. It was different, and that's when I learned I wasn't made for pop, and I wasn't made for like that.
And yet, Ain't Nobody Like You. I mean, the reason I'm touching on this period and not just moving on is because that album is, if you ask your fans, they're going to tell you that that's a classic album. You managed to fit in, a couple standards. You had Good Morning Heartbreak. You had This Bitter Earth. You put your foot in it. Hope that we can be together soon. Remakes are tough. And that's incredible. And then, of course, there's Ain't Nobody Like You. So, difficult relationship with the business at that time, but an amazing result. Does the business stuff taint the music for you when you hear it?
No.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, actually.
No, it's just that was a career-ending time in my life, and it wasn't anything I did. It was other people's, there were other people's egos and pride and things like that, and it just came in between my happiness and success. I don't like that.
Right. Yeah. We won't get into all. I'm not in. We're gonna keep it on the career. But I'll say this though: there is, if anybody wants to, know what that's about, I recommend that they find on whatever streaming service is carrying it right now the movie Love Under New Management. It was a TV One biopic, executive produced by, with a voiceover from, narrated by Miss Mickey Howard herself. So there's no question about authenticity. You satisfied with the representations? Considering that dramatic license has to come into play with making films and everything. You satisfied with the representation of your truth in that film?
The only thing is that, my mom, she was very difficult. You have that time in the life with teenagers and things like that. And it was weird that people in the church were very upset about the gay issue. And I'm like, I never in my life, not 1 second, thought it was anything wrong with that.
Right.
We really, I grew up in a gay environment, and it was great. It was the best thing. I wasn't molested. It was, it was really wonderful. And I didn't in any way, no shape, form, or fashion, that people were not supposed to know about that. I was like, really?
Yeah. It didn't feel like a secret at the time, I would imagine, to your young eyes.
No. And I don't see any reason for it to be a secret. If you feel you're making a mistake at any time, anything you do, you should do it out loud. And if it's a mistake, then you'll find out.
Right.
But if you're doing it down low and to the side and to the secret, you will never know.
I hear that. As they say, the truth shall set you free. And they the ones that say that and then ask you to keep on lying. Isn't that interesting? But
I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
So you know what? What we're talking about is black church issues, right? Okay, so you're actually, both your parents were gospel singers, and then the movie revealed something that folks had a problem with. But did any of because like your mother had her some say contradictions in her personality, right? Like
I don't think it's contradiction. I think it's the black community, where women have to be extremely strong. Homosexuality was not a taboo in the black community. There were several, areas and things like that people lived in. We lived in a completely gay community. I had no idea that people were any other way.
Well, that's not the part I'm talking about. That's actually, I don't mean to, but that's actually not the part I'm referring to. Though, yeah, that's its own issue. But then I'm commenting on the question of her relationship with you. She was really tough on you. And according to that film, she threw you out. And
Yeah,
that's
because she had a change of life. Like, she wanted to, she stopped singing gospel music. She became a completely straight woman, and she got married.
hmm
She wanted to get married to this guy. She married this man, and he was a low life. He was a piece of. I don't even think he had, common sense.
right.
Right, and she wanted to go on this path in this life, and I was not to interrupt her.
hmm
With
And
that, and he was, it was bad, but it is common. It wasn't, unusually bad or anything like that. It was people do that, and especially during those times. And I was the youngest of three girls, and she was tired and she wanted her own life and things like that. And those things you don't understand until you're much older, but it's just things that happen.
wow, it sounds like you found a place of forgiveness with all that. Long time ago.
Forgiveness, I found a place of majesty almost for her. I mean, she raised three girls by herself in a very tumultuous time, and we all turned out fine. We lived the lives we want to live, and
Do you think
it's
she
been a good
contributed?
life.
Do you think that either by direct musical influence or by way of just her role in your life, do you think she contributed to your art?
Absolutely. I was always with her because I was the youngest, so I would go to all of the rehearsals, and I was at all of the programs, and I would sit around with her and her friends, and they would wake me up at night to give them kisses to win where they're playing bid whist, and just very much a part, and I loved it, and it was just a great time. We'd go over Aretha Franklin's house, or it was so cool.
Well, that's something to
And
bond
yeah,
over.
that's all she thought about, was because that's all I talked about.
Right.
That's what I want to be. She was very scared. She didn't really want that for me, and I understand why.
How do you feel? No, okay, since you led me there, two of your three children are pursuing careers in show business. And there's been no indication that I've seen that you've been anything other than completely encouraging of that, even though you had such a rough time of it yourself. How are you able to reconcile those two things?
I mean, they're my children. I support them, whatever they want to do, as long as it's not being an axe murderer.
So you
I
don't feel that
understand
protective
encourage it.
instinct? Yeah, you don't feel like, oh, baby. I was telling somebody the other week, I wish you would just go on ahead and be an aerospace engineer. That's really cool. It's a lot of money, and there's not as many people in your faces in show business. Apparently the reward for success in show business, they build you up to tear you down, as Whitney used to say. So you didn't feel that protective instinct? Well, baby, maybe you should. Maybe. You didn't feel that?
And I thought, I wish you would do something. But I also feel like, if this is what you want to do, make the best of it. I'm here for you.
Did you warn them? Did you keep it real?
I didn't have to warn them. They saw everything, and they were very like, oh my God, I don't want that to happen to me.
Learning from mama's mistakes. That's what we're supposed to do, Miss Howard.
That wasn't me. I made one mistake. I got married. I shouldn't have got married. I didn't make any mistakes like that. I mean, I did good. But what happened was people's egos, pride, and also the prejudice of female and male got in the way. They listened to a manager when they wouldn't listen to me, the artist.
Right. The
And that's
experienced
why
artist.
Yeah, and the manager was doing things I absolutely didn't agree with. I never told him to do those things. And then the husband came in, and the moment I got married, you're married now, so the husband is who we listen to. So he hooked up with the manager, and they go and they make deals behind my back, and they tell me where to show up and that type of thing, and get me off my record label, which I didn't want to leave.
Right.
So it was like after that, I just had to take over my own career, and just be. I had never had management until Come Share My Love was on the chart.
Wow. After the signing, it was on
Right,
the
I
charts.
did everything. I didn't have any problems.
Mm-hmm.
And when people came involved, I had problems. And it was at the insistence of the record company. You must get a manager, Miki. We can't talk to you. You must get a manager. You have to. Then I got a manager. And then, oh, you're gonna have another baby. You should be married. You shouldn't have any more children out of wedlock. I got married. It's the dumbest shit I ever did, all the way around. And those are the things I didn't like.
Man, if I had a nickel for every marriage, I'm sorry. I respect the institution of marriage, but I guess it all depends on our luck of the
Your
draw.
motive. It's your motive
Yeah.
for marriage.
Yeah. You know,
You
what
know,
are
you
you
can
in
get
this for?
married for love, and love changes, or but if it's really, really love, then it will evolve. And you can get married for stability, and if you live up to your bargain, you can stay married. But when you get married arbitrarily for the reasons that you can't really put your finger on, that's when it really goes astray.
Have you put your finger on it yet?
Oh yeah, I told you. I got married for a moral obligation.
Obligation, right. All right, let's kiss that period goodbye. All right, dark period. Oddly enough, some good music came out of it. So I want to play a duet that you did with Christopher Williams. Is that okay?
All right.
Because that feels good. The band is just jumping off the wax.
Well, it's actually produced by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, the writers of the song.
Originally done by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, right? This is
and produced by.
And produced by, you going to say?
The same guys. They wrote it. They produced it for them.
Oh, Gamble and Huff and Gamble and Huff. I'm sorry. See, I'm ready to give the man the cue, and I'm dancing, and I was just like, oh, pop quiz. Yes. Originally written, produced, Gamble and Huff, Kenny Gamble, and Leon Huff from the Philly Soul Sound. We want to talk about your influences when we come back from this one, like where they factor in. But yes, Gamble and Huff, this is the remake on Femme Fatale from 1992. Miki Howard and Christopher Williams with Hope That We Can Be Together Soon. We'll be back in just a minute. Here we go.
Hey, Miki.
Hi, Christopher.
I got that feeling again, baby.
Yes, and I've got it too.
You think we can see each other?
You know, I really need to see you.
Come on. Let's make it happen.
I can't wait any longer. When I'm away from you, boy, all I seem to do is cry. And when I see you, boy, my how the time does fly. I don't know if you need and love me the way I need you. I hope that we can be together soon. I hope that we can be together soon. I hope that we can be together soon. Can you make it real soon? Can you make it real soon?
When I think about you, girl, chills run up and down my spine. And if my wish could come true, oh baby, I'd be with you all the time, yeah.
Wrong or right, day or night, I sure do miss you.
All my lonely heart can do, yeah.
Hope that we can be together soon.
Hope we make it real soon, yeah.
I hope that we
Come on and hold me.
I wanna squeeze you.
Squeeze me.
I wanna love you.
Come on and love me.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
That's a good sounding band from 1992. And you guys, man, you know, remakes from her last major label, released in 1992, but certainly not her last record. Let's hope that we can be together soon. Miki Howard and Christopher Williams. So, all right, I want to jump to this thing that we do every week, okay? There is a question that we like to ask people that people find impossible to answer. And so I want to see what you did with this. Full disclosure, I sent you this question ahead of time, but I don't think you're going to have a hard time with it. So let's say you were sent to a desert island, Miss Miki Howard, and you had to pick 5 albums to bring with you, the only songs you're going to hear from now till whenever. What are these 5 albums that you would bring?
Of course, I would bring Aretha Franklin, What a Fool Believes album, Marvin Gaye, I Want You album, Abby Lincoln, Who Used to Dance album,
That's beautiful.
Billie Holiday, Lady in Satin, and Miki Howard, Femme Fatale.
Hey, you would bring Femme Fatale, even though that's the giant record. Now, I gotta ask you that one now. That's the one you'd bring, not the third one.
Yeah, because I like it. I mean, I did the songs I liked, and they didn't really dictate what I had to do, there. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I really love Ain't Nobody Like You, and This Bit of Earth. I have some really great memories. Yeah. Just cut that out.
All right. So before we let you go, there's one tune that we can't avoid. First of all, I want to mention that since 1996, you've been releasing your own records pretty much independently. Let me run them down for everybody so they can make sure that they stream them and listen to them if they have not. Live Plus from 1996, love that one. Can't Count Me Out, Pillow Talk from '06, Private Collection from '08, and then another live album, Miki Howard Live, in 2015. So what has been different about releasing music independently, running your career independently, versus your major label experience?
Wow, nobody gets to hear them. That's the bad part. You don't get to hear them. The machine, there's no machine. When it's just you. And I spent a lot of money making these records, and I lost a lot of money. And people took serious advantage. They would say I would hire a publicity team. They charged $10,000 a month. They did nothing. They make you sign for like 6 months. They do nothing. Then I found out, how deep the blackballing really was, and it's not cute.
Even after that point, even
oh, yeah, it still goes on, man. It still goes on. You don't see me on anything. Where do you see me?
Well, I see you on people.
I don't play any black venue. I never play anything black. Everything I play is either the city wineries or Catalina's or, something like that.
I will concede that I've looked for opportunities to see you in person over the years. And yeah, they've been kind of few and far between. I love that you have this great relationship going with City Winery now, because they're
we
fantastic.
We want to say City Winery in all the cities, in Chicago, Bank City Winery in Philadelphia, D.C., Nashville, New York. They're very good to us, and a lot of the artists that had limited, venues to play in, So I am really grateful for them, and Catalina's Jazz in LA, and just places like that. But you don't see me on the Soul Train cruise or Tom Joyner cruise or the Essence Festival or the Cincinnati Festival. You don't see me on anything like that. Anything like that, nothing.
So then when you go out, because when you do go out, I've seen videos from your performances at City Winery, and actually if anyone wants to see those performances, I recommend they check out the Black Gold YouTube channel. In a couple hours after the show, we're going to put up a playlist including some of these great fan-taken videos. You still turn it out, even though, like, you go out there, the enthusiasm is there, the voice is there. Usually it's the same key as 1989. So there's no deficit of apparent enthusiasm on your part. How do you stay enthusiastic about what you do and in shape to do what you do?
Because it gets from God.
That's it,
It's
huh?
a gift from God, and He facilitates it. I don't worry about anything like that. You know, I really enjoy it. It's a gift from God.
The singers asked me to ask you how much you practice and vocalize, because as we all get older, and I used to sing myself, so I get this, the voice changes, the body changes. How do you take care of yourself?
I work out. I sing. You know.
You do them scales, you do the whole thing.
No, I wish I would. I need to.
Nobody does them damn scales, girl. Okay? Because I was about to be real impressed if you told me that you did it, Thank you for keeping it real. Okay, thank you. All right. So singers, y'all on your own. Do the best you can. All right. Really quickly, I got to start winding down. I thank you so much. This is, and thank you for letting me talk to Michelle, okay? Because I feel like that's who I'm talking to. I cannot end this without talking about your signature song, right? It's funny how that works. You might have your own favorite song in your own career, but it's really the artist that chooses your signature song. You know which one I'm leading into here?
Of course, Love It Indie Management. Or Come Share My Love. Or it could be Ain't Nobody Like You.
Yeah.
Or Baby Be Mine, perhaps, no?
So you did it.
Oh, my God. Till You Come Back to Me is a good one.
That's good. Well, Aretha's gonna, you got Aretha, you got Luther. They put a real dent on that one. Love Under New Management is yours.
I'm so sorry, but I put a real dent until you come back to me first.
Oh yeah, you did.
After Aretha, it was my ode to Aretha Franklin, who I adore.
And it was wonderful, and I love the video for it too.
Hilarious, right?
I love the video for it. It really brings me right back to those years. Yeah. So, well, you did an interview in Chicago. You said Love Under New Management makes me gag. You remember saying that?
I'm sure it does.
And is it about the meaning? Does it conjure up the time, or is it just that's a tough one to sing?
Sometimes it's a tough one to sing, mostly because sometimes if you're not in a good mood, or they're not playing it just right, or I don't have the right microphone sound, or I just don't want to sing it, and I have to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't have to, because an artist is an artist, but I don't want to disappoint people.
Mm-hmm.
So I do it anyway, but my heart isn't really in it anymore. And as far as Love Under New Management, it's just about God and managing, your relationship with God and yourself and things like that. And to say that I would give the power of my essence and love, to be managed by, some guy, I just can't.
You don't need no manager. You're managing pretty well, Miki Howard. And we love you. You hear me? We love you. We love you. We want to thank you for your time. We got to end with Love Under New Management. So I just want to tell you before I let you go,
For the young lovers, baby. For the young new lovers.
Yes. But don't give it away. You know what I mean? Be self-managed, because Miki Howard is. And we adore you for all that you are as a woman, for all you've given us musically. I want to speak life and joy into your spirit. And I want you to know that, somewhere, somebody every day is thrilling to the sound of your voice. We love you, Miki Howard. You are Black Gold. And thank you for blessing us with your time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Wish you the best.
Thank you. I hope I get to see you when you come back to L.A. So we're going to say goodbye with the anthem, with the signature song, with Miki Howard's Guess Who I Saw Today. You like that, right? You got to wrap yourself around it, Miki Howard. That's the one. Love Under New Management.
Experience is a good teacher. It takes someone like me to know all the little games people tend to play. Some call it love. It never has a chance. and back together came all the little pieces. It's time to celebrate. You see, I never thought I could.
Well, at least we got a little bit of it in, y'all. If you want to hear the rest of it, you know where to stream it. Miss Howard said, go to Amazon and stream everything you can. Thank you for listening. My eternal gratitude to Miss Miki Howard for spending the time with us today. Miki Howard shows at Catalina's Jazz Club in LA will be rescheduled as soon as we get this situation under control. But in the meantime, check back with her website, MikiHowardMedia.com. As always, thanks to Kevin Nash, the boss man, our production right hand and cheerleader, Candy over on the East Coast, Miss Bailey, our researcher. Thank you, Rashid, as always. To our loyal and growing audience, we see you, we appreciate you, and you are Black Gold. We'll be back next week with a new sort of slate of community partners, which is a very exciting thing. Remember, life is a celebration, and every day you wake up, that means you were invited. For Black Gold, my name is Tariq King. I will see you next Saturday right here. Take care.
Black gold, black gold. You are black gold. You are black gold, black gold. You are black gold. You are.
Black Gold's a presentation of Accelerated Radio Network and King Things LLC, LA, California.